Hello and welcome to Faith Media Show. I am your host, Danny Terry, and Faith Media Show is a podcast and a live streaming show that features Christians who work in media and entertainment. And today we are joined by painter and graphic artist Jared O'Flaherty. Jared, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Danny. Thanks.
And thank you for joining us. Currently, you're in DC, right?
I am.
Gotta
Yep.
love technology. It's certainly has been a brave new world with everything being connected remotely. So it's definitely have to kind of relearn how to do different things, but it's definitely adjustment on life. Certainly has been.
That's for sure. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool to be able to hang out with you virtually.
So as so please tell the viewers about your background.
All right. I have been an artist for as long as I think I can remember. Um, didn't really start getting into it until I was in my teens. When I was 13, I kind of fell into the graffiti culture, and that just consumed me. Um, and so since then, I've really just been doing it all, slinging paint, playing with spray cans. As of lately, as in 2017, I started my own art company. It's called Acrylics, where we predominantly create acrylic pieces. We use a variety of methods to create, whether it's mixed media, graphic art, straight paint to canvas. Done some mural work as well in the recent, like the last year or so. Commissioned through both the city of Norfolk and the city of Virginia Beach. So I have murals that are up and can be on display. If you go down to the oceanfront, for instance, off of 24th Street, I have one down there. And then there's also the Little Theater of Virginia Beach. I did the entire half of the building mural for them. So yeah, just I am an artist. It's who I am. It's wake up thinking, breathing. That's who I am.
That's great. So what influenced you to want to become an artist?
I think it's just one of those things where I was innately interested. The first time I can remember being, an artist, I guess, is I was 5, and I used to draw little boats. So I remember being 5 and drawing a boat and being really proud of it, and showing my mom and showing my dad. And I think that was really where it started. Um, so I mean, as I got older, I was able to learn different techniques and different styles from different artists. Alphonse Mucha is a heavy influence in my work. He's the godfather of Art Nouveau, and he did a lot of like lithographic prints in the 1920s and 30s. And um, Jackson Pollock is another influence, just because of the way that he redid modern art. So I don't know. I just I think every decade in my life I've discovered something new that I wasn't really interested in before, and it revitalizes myself and my art. And like I said, graffiti has always been a big piece of who I am. So there's guys like Scene and Risk that are actually on Instagram. They engage with you all the time. These are like the godfathers of graffiti that were birthed out of the 80s. And so yeah, it's just constantly encouraging, and always finding new ways to get involved. And yeah, I guess I guess that's where my influences are birthed from.
Yeah. So when did you become a believer in Jesus? Please tell everyone about your testimony.
I think I've always had a belief in Christ. I grew up in a Christian home. Um, Faith has always been something that's really important to me, and it really kind of is the rock that I lean on when things get rough. And it can be hard sometimes, but I think I rededicated my life to Christ when I was 15 on my own. I was at a church function, and they were just praise and worshiping, and I just felt consumed by it and felt compelled to rededicate my life. Um, which is funny because it's also when I was getting into graffiti, and I was going by a name Skept, which is short for skeptical. And then when I rededicated my life to God, and I decided that I was going to be a Christian, like full force Christian. I was just consuming as much as I could in the Bible and reading. Like my grandfather was a preacher, so I was reading a lot of his old books and his old notes. And I was looking for a new name. I was like, all right, I'm going to change my name. I'm going to switch it up. And I came across the name Enoch. And Enoch is, he's an ancestor of Noah, and he is the son of Jared. And I thought, that's like God talking to me right there. So since then, I've gone by Enoch when I do, graffiti, and that's what I did for a long time. And then again, I actually got rebaptized as an adult in 2016. And so, yeah, I can't think of a time in my life where I wasn't a believer.
So how has your faith played a role in the projects that you work on?
I think it depends on the mood I'm in. One of the things that I do with my paintings is I actually name them before I paint them. So I have a blank canvas, and I just, I'm just try to be in the moment with it. And I try to, vibe off my emotions and what I'm feeling that day. And once it's named, it actually influences everything. It influences the music I'll listen to. It influences the paints, the colors that I'll use. It literally consumes the entire environment, and it really has a deep influence on it. And so, I've made work where I was feeling, like a typical artist. I was feeling melodramatic, or I was being temperamental. And, I remember one time I was reading, I think it was Revelations. I was just in Revelations. I've always been drawn to that book. And so I read about it, and I was just going through it, not anything in particular, just kind of reading through it. And then I created a painting called Black Sun. And so it kind of just goes hand in hand. But it depends on the mood that I'm in, There's a Christian rapper named NF. I don't know if you ever heard of him or not, but he does quite a bit of stuff. And I've listened to a lot of him while I paint. There's a lot of pain behind what he's talking about, and, a lot of struggle. And so within that, you always find your faith. At least that's for me. That's, when I'm in my moments of deep struggle, that's where I rely on my faith the most. And so that's where some of my best paintings have come from.
Yeah, and faith really is one thing that can just really help you to get through it, no matter what you are going through. And you just call upon the name of Jesus, and really nothing is impossible, without
Mm-hmm.
Christ in your life. And it just, I've been so amazed at what could potentially happen. There's been so many Christians that have been touched by God and had so many miracles happen to their life, and it's just wonderful to see that and see that as a testimony. And with God, all things are possible. There's nothing that we can't do without Him on our side.
It's true.
So, as a Christian and an artist, how has your experience been working in art and media?
There's a lot of people that are not, interested in hearing about God or talking about God, and there's a lot of the art community that doesn't even believe in God. So it's interesting waters to navigate. You have to. I don't know if you always have to be on your guard or not, but because some people are just reckless and the things that they say. And for me personally, I haven't experienced a whole lot of negativity with it. If anything, it's just an opportunity to talk to people. I like talking to people in general. That's who I am. So if they like the piece that I've created and they want to know more about it, I tell them. It's like, well, yeah, this is the background from this piece. Usually, like I said, it's given a name before I paint it. Here's what I was thinking about when I made this painting. Here's what I was listening to. Here's what I was feeling. And it's a great opportunity to share testimonies with people and just, be a friendly face and give them one more reason to reconsider what they're doing. And, if they haven't, thought about, giving their life to Christ, and, it's one more notch towards them getting a chance to maybe do that. But it depends. Some people are really welcoming, and other people are really just like, you keep all that over there. You take the good with the bad, you know. I have done some missions work with my art. In 2018, I went to Scotland and was able to do some missions work over there, and I used my art to get me there. Me and my wife actually went together, and we raised money through our art, and it allowed us an opportunity to go over to Scotland for 2 weeks and minister to the homeless and to work with kids and do like a creative environment for them. And so we were using art to teach them about God and to just kind of, enjoy each other in the moment. And it was a lot of fun.
So where was this at that you were working with the homeless kids?
In Scotland,
In
Edinburgh.
Scotland. Oh,
In
that's
Edinburgh.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. We were there for a little over 2 weeks during the Fringe. It's the largest art festival in the world. It's number one in the world. Consumes the city for almost a month. And so we were out there with Destiny Church, and we were every day, working with the kids, hanging out with the kids, teaching them about the Bible. Because I mean, we're talking like VBS age. Really, some of them were as young as 5. I think the oldest was maybe 12. And then we would do that for most of the day, and then we'd go out into the streets. We talk to people, pray for people. There's a large homeless population out there, so we were, inside Edinburgh. There's it's called Leith. It's Leith, and we were just out there every day, and it was awesome. And then you get to experience the Fringe too, which is just this incredible art community. It was amazing.
So have you had the opportunity to do something similar here in the United States?
Yeah. I've done shows all up and down the East Coast. Not a whole lot of them are mission based, but I've done a lot of the shows have actually been in Norfolk. We've done Chelsea West Fest. We've done Stockley Gardens, which is sponsored by Hope House Foundation, who, their entire reason for being is to assist mentally challenged individuals to live as fulfilling a life as possible. So that they own property and they rent out property to these individuals, and they have in-home caretakers. And it's such a servant's heart led organization. They live to serve others that aren't in as good a position as maybe you or I are, intellectually, just from they're just disabled people, and it's amazing to see what these people do. So I work a lot with Hope House, and we do the Stockley Gardens Festival twice a year. So we're out there a lot, once in May, once in October.
So we actually have a few watching the live stream with us. Thank you for joining us today. We're talking with painter and graphic artist Jared O'Flaherty, and we're just talking about his experience of working in various different types of art, and also he's sharing his faith as well. And he's been actually telling us that there's been a lot of wonderful things he's been able to work with the community and be able to work with them and share his art, help to teach art as well. And also he's been able to have the opportunity to share his faith as well. And if you have any questions for Jared, please feel free to chime in on the comments. We are actually using StreamYard to go live. So in order for us to actually show the comments on the screen, what you'll first need to do is just go to the link that we shared on our live stream. It's streamyard.com/Facebook. So what you'll first have to do is you'll need to grant permission for StreamYard to show your comments. But once you do that, we'll be able to actually put your comments on the screen. But if you have any comments for Jared, please feel free to chime in. And Jared, also, what types of art and other projects have you worked on?
Oh man. Well, for the last 2.5, 3 years almost, it's been almost predominantly acrylic pour. So you take acrylic paint and you mix it with a silicone base, a pouring medium. Usually it's like Liquitex or Floetrol, and combine them together, and then use that as a pour. You literally pour it and then use movement. So I do that quite a bit. That's, the foundation of acrylics was based on that specifically. And then I actually use my hands and actually paint with my hands inside the painting. I've also done a lot of mixed media work, creating collages out of various materials. Actually, when we were in Scotland, they were handing out these amazing flyers for all the different shows that were available for people to see. And I mean, we're talking like these flyers are works of art themselves. So I think I brought home like maybe 1,000 flyers, literally 1,000 flyers. I filled up an entire suitcase full of them and brought them home. And I've cut them all up, some of them, and turned them into pieces of work. I have a few that I've submitted to shows in the last year. Um, I do a lot of I am doing some more graphic work as well more recently. Acrylics has been pushing, you know, certain things that we've been doing. For instance, we have a logo where it's people taking their hands and they're creating the VA sign. And so that's been really popular, and that's been turned into stickers and magnets and prints and holographic prints, and so we do a lot of that now too. Yep.
So, and we've actually known each other since the days of Tidewater Community College, going through
Yeah.
the Visual Arts Center,
Yep.
and you've always actually been into art ever since. And uh, what are and I know there's like all sorts of different art that you like, but what are your favorite types?
Mhm. Um, I love all of it, man. It's hard. I am drawn more to like contemporary modern art. I'm a big fan of, like I mentioned, like Pablo Jackson Pollock is a big one for me. I love Alphonse Mucha, who's like more of that Art Nouveau, so it's very stylish. Um, I don't know, man. I like it all. There isn't really much that I don't like. I tend to be drawn more to like more graphic and detailed stuff. So like, there's a guy that I follow on Instagram. His name is Tristan Easton, and he's just doing the most amazing stuff right now. And he does nothing but spray can work, but his work is so just in your face, and it's like combined collage work, and his technique is flawless. And like, he'll do entire buildings in this, and it's amazing. So lately, like, I've been following him quite a bit, and that's definitely had some influence on things that I want to personally do. Um, yeah, I'd say that he's a big one right now. Again, it's like modern graffiti culture. That's really what it all goes back to graffiti for me. Just the risk and the color, and the techniques that you have to have, and people think it's just just throwing paint on a wall with a spray can. It's just so much more than that. Um, and the culture behind it is really something that I've just always been a big part of.
Yeah, so like one particular type of your art that you've worked on is that's really taken off is the VA logo. Just kind
Hmm.
of tell us about that and like how you got started with that. And I think you said you submitted it for an art show, right?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, when Pharrell Williams came to Virginia Beach, which is where I'm from, um, he did the Something in the Water Festival, and we were able to get on board with that, and we were one of the vendors. And I wanted to do something that would really draw in people, because Something in the Water is a music festival, it's an art festival, but it's got a real deep hip hop feel to it. Most of the acts were either R&B or hip hop, and so I really wanted to create something that was going to belong there, and that's where it came from. It's just, if people are familiar with, it's just a hand sign, so it's like this, VA, and it just that's where it came from, and it just shot right off, man. People couldn't get enough of it. It's actually what we become most associated with, more than the paintings itself, is that symbol. Because we're, again, where I'm from, Hampton Road 757. People are really proud to be from there. It's a place where a lot of talented individuals come from. I mean, we've got sports, music, entertainment. So it was cool. It was really neat that it took off the way it did. I didn't expect it to. And so
Yeah.
now, since then, we've done a lot of work with that, and just going from there.
So we actually we have little example. This is one of the versions. It's the one that you have set as your profile photo for the VA logo. So let's go ahead and show that up on the screen there, so that way they can see what we're referring to. So this is the logo that that Jared had designed for the for that festival. And yeah, you have actually done all sorts of different versions of that, right? And
I have. Yeah, that one you just showed is our 3D holographic version. Literally just launched as a magnet. So, you can go onto the Acrylics pages and follow the links to our Big Cartel page, and it's for sale on there. Um, but yeah, that's one of the newer versions of it. We've done watercolor. We've done the traditional black and white. We've done, um, so many different versions of it. But the 3D one is probably one of the more popular ones.
yeah. So you've actually had the opportunity to meet and to work with Christians and in the various things that you've done, working with art and working with mixed media. Um, please tell the viewers about like how your experience has been working with them and the impact that they've made on you.
It's been an incredible impact on me. I love that I'm able to use something that means so much to me, and with art, to use it as a vessel to talk to other people about God, and it's cool because people that maybe not aren't even that interested in art or even my style of art, they're just that's not their cup of tea, but we're both believers in Christ, and so from there we can have just an amazing conversation, and the encounters that you'll have are incredible. Um, One of the things that I love the most about my current work, with the acrylic pours, is it's can be very prophetic. And so I've had people come up to me and just been like, your work really speaks to me on a deep spiritual level, and I can see God talking to me through it. And it's always amazing to hear that from people because everyone looks at it differently, but God is the same. And so I love that. I think that's really cool, and I feel blessed that I have the opportunity to continue to have those kinds of impacts on people, and they don't, and none of them really realize how much of an impact they're having on me all the time. Sometimes it's obvious, we have these crazy cool conversations about it, but other times it's more subtle, and I'm just kind of in awe that people see that in my work, and that because God's really important to me, and it's my faith is what's really helped me get through so much, and I use that in my work. um, and that, yeah, it's just amazing. It's so cool.
Yeah, and one of the greatest things about art, in relation, also in relations, to movies, to TV shows, um, art is definitely one thing that can bring so many different people together from all walks of life, and that actually can be a wonderful way to actually reach people through Christ. You
Mhm.
can use that media, you can use that talent, and honestly, I find that that's actually the best way to try to reach people through Christ. Is like, not all of us were actually meant to be pastors or evangelists, but we're still supposed to share our beliefs with others. And I of course try not to push it on it. Like, if I feel like that person may be open to discussing faith, like I'll certainly try to bring that into context. So like, if it ends up, it definitely looks like it may be a spiritual conversation, I really try to share my faith with others. And
Mhm.
also, it's also a good example, to share with people. They're wondering, like, why are you so positive? Or why do you have such a positive outlook on life? And your faith plays a huge role in that.
It
You
does.
know,
It definitely does. Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
and honestly, I really would not be where I am today without having Jesus Christ in my life.
Absolutely. No, 100% agree with you. Um, it's the one constant in my life. That's always been the one constant in my life, just through all of the ups and downs and all the trials and hardships. It was just my faith. My faith is what got me through it more than anything else. It was always my faith, even when it felt like having faith is useless. It's not.
Yeah. So with your art, have you thought of maybe kind of branching out into that and maybe kind of go into other mediums with with your talents? Because I think, like, especially areas like television and film, um, works so almost hand in hand with art, and I think that that would actually be a unique field for you to kind of maybe branch out into. I mean, obviously not as like your main focus, but could be like another way to kind of share your art.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't really know, I mean, like I've always wanted to get more involved in that. I was on the board of directors for a local theater production company here in Virginia Beach for a while, or I'm in DC, but back home in Virginia Beach. Um, and so I've had the opportunity to produce plays, and I've been involved in the day-to-day production and casting, and you never know, man. You never know what you're going to have an opportunity to do.
Yeah.
So I mean, and art got me there, because I did the mural for them, and then they liked what I had, and you get to talking to people, and they realize that you're not just like this one faceted person. Like, oh, you do art, but you like theater too? Like, yeah, yeah, I do. So it's really neat. It's really cool how God works and introduces you to people that you don't necessarily realize are going to change your life and are going to introduce you to things that you never thought possible. My wife is an actress. She was a model and actress for a long time, and so that's still something that her and I both are always interested in doing. And I think my art is probably going to always be front and center, just with the way I paint, and that's just who I am. But yeah, I mean, if the opportunity arose, sure. I've done painted backgrounds for plays, and I've helped in other ways that I can use my talent. Yeah, you never know, dude.
Yeah. Or you can even actually help to maybe work with the art directors on films, and actually
Hmm.
kind of bring some more of an artistic flair to the background that they're trying to have for their specific scene. Or it might be
Yeah,
just something like where it's a painting that they have in the background, because even especially film is actually a wonderful opportunity for product placement. So
that's true. No, you're absolutely right. I would love that. That would be really cool. I have no idea where you even begin to do that, but yeah, that would be amazing. I had thought about other ways to get my art out there, just as a way to be in the background, like you say, is day-to-day livings. There's always people like where I'm from. It's a heavy military town, so people are always moving in and out, and there's always realtors looking for houses to show. And so I've had a couple connections with some friends of mine that do that, and I'm going to hopefully start having my art in these houses that are for sale as kind of like just part of the staging. Um, and now, I mean, every realtor has a videographer that usually does some kind of work with them as they're showing homes off. So who knows? Yeah, sky's the limit.
yeah, that is true. So so about your company, Acrylics, tell us about that. Like, how's that been for you? What kind of like what role your faith plays in that? How it's been for you, kind of like to reach out to the community and share your art with them.
Yeah, Acrylics was founded at the buck end of 2017, beginning of 2018. Um, it just kind of came out of nowhere, man. I was working at a job that I didn't really like, and I just kept thinking, like, how can I do something that's going to be able to bring me some more fulfillment and still do the things that I really love. And so it's not quite there yet. Acrylics is definitely my passion project, and it's not what I live off of yet. But that goal is to eventually get to a place where we're using acrylics as a means to, teach and minister and offer people the opportunity to come and learn something that they've never done before. Um, Acrylics long term, I want it to be a part of someone's healing experience. The type of art that I do is great for therapeutic measures. And so, actually, one of the things that I'm planning on doing is actually getting my degree as an art therapist, so that I can do clinical mental health counseling with people and use art as a way to minister to them and to help them heal. And acrylics, that is what acrylics will be. That is the goal for acrylics. Acrylics is not just an art house. It's a place where people can come and feel free to heal and to work through their issues, and we do that through art. Um, and I mean that there is no better or greater ministry, in my opinion, than to be able to do those two things combined into one effort.
So you said that you actually had the opportunity to teach kids art in Scotland, but have you had the same kind of opportunity to teach others to kind of express themselves through art?
Yeah, absolutely. I had plenty of people ask about, how do you do your work? How do you do this? It's so cool. At all the shows that I've been to. So I actually created with my wife, it was actually her idea, um, to do what we call a paint crate. And a paint crate essentially is you get an 8x10 canvas, 3 colors, and instructions through our YouTube channel to create your own acrylic pour. And so we've sold, I don't know how many of those things. I mean, every show we go to, we sell out. Um, and that's really fun because, it's a way for people to take our work home and make it their own. And again, it's therapeutic, man. It really is. You get lost in the paint, and there's a lot of movement with this style of work. It's not sitting there going up and down with your brush. It's fast and it's engaging in its own right. So you don't really have to worry about learning how to do it. You just do it, and you're always surprised at the outcome. And usually it's a really positive response. So we've been doing that, and prior to the coronavirus pandemic, we had some plans to start doing some shows, and um, we wanted to use these paint crates as an opportunity to work with people at birthday parties and bridal showers and paint nights, things like that. And that's still something we want to do. We just have to do it in a safe capacity now, and so we're figuring that out. We're trying to see how we can still do that, and but that's ultimately that will lead to an opportunity for us to do more ministry, helping people, teaching them how to art, how to paint. Um, it's so much fun. I mean, and that's, as long as we're having fun, and we'll keep doing it.
Yeah, that's it's wonderful to definitely to be able to, to take something that, you really have a talent with, and just kind of do the best that you can. Cause actually that's what the Bible does teach us, is that um, whatever our hands find to do, whatever God blessed us with, to do it with all of our might.
Yeah.
And, with no matter what talents that we have, you could be a creative person like Jared or myself, or you might not be. You might be in business, or you might be, um, working with animals, or you might be working in, like as a lawyer, or, regardless of what you do, what talent that you're blessed with, just do it to the best of your ability. And you can really reach people through Christ through that. It's really surprising that you can really be able to meet more people through that medium. Cause like,
Mhm.
especially as a videographer, there's been so many, there's opportunities that I wouldn't have been able to have otherwise. I've actually had the opportunity to work on a few Christian films, and it's just wonderful to work in that medium. But like, you don't necessarily have to be a creative person, you
It's
know,
true.
to reach people through Christ. It could just be whatever you're into. It could be something that you do professionally, or it could just be do something that you have as a hobby. Whether it be painting, or you do puzzles, or you can collecting something, you can really kind of relate to people through that.
Mm.
And you get that opportunity when you have the opportunity to share your faith. That's the best way to do it, because you have that common ground, and then you can relate on that.
Yeah, I definitely think that being creative is created the best vessel for me. It definitely creates that bridge where people maybe you would never interact with prior. Now you have a front row seat to who they are, and um, it's amazing what people are willing to share. It's really, there's really no other way to describe it. All the times that I've been, at shows or at festivals, and I'm just talking to people about the art, and they're drawn to it, and before you know it, they're sharing their life story with you, and sometimes that includes their pain, and and some of the hopes that they still have, and it's right there, perfect opportunity right there. You just, God brings people into your life for just a moment, and even if it was just you being a friendly face, and showing some love to somebody and having a shared appreciation for something beautiful, you have no idea how deep that might have affected that person. You have no idea what that did for them otherwise. And I think that God's in the little moments. I think that people overlook that sometimes, and there are these little small short moments that God really just reveals himself to people, and it's usually through encounters, and um, people don't always see that, and I look for those, and that's always been one of the things that I love the most about being an artist, and having an opportunity and a talent to use it. um, it's incredible.
Yeah. So, Jared, is it okay if we show some examples of the art that you've done in the past?
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and let's see. We actually have the Visit Norfolk mural that you did. So let me go
Hmm.
ahead and show that real quick. Bring that up. There we are. Yeah. So that's a Visit Norfolk mural. So it's, tell us about that.
So that was one of the first commissions that I got right after we started acrylics. um, it was just pure happenstance. I was working as a bartender part time with a friend of mine from church. She owns her own catering company, and she got a job at Waterside, Norfolk, for this like 3,000 plus person party for this big company. And Norfolk was sponsoring the event because it was tied to their tourism, and they were looking for an artist to do some kind of a live art show, art piece or whatever, as part of the entertainment, but also something they would use to help promote Norfolk when they travel around the country promoting the city and looking for business. And so I painted that live, in front of, I think there were about 500 people at the time, because it was earlier on in the day, because I had to start pretty early so it would finish by the time the event concluded. Um, and it was so fun. It was just cool being out there and right in the middle of this waterside, right there on the water. Um, and I just worked on it throughout most of the day. Took little breaks, would talk to people, answer questions, take pictures, and Norfolk used that for that coming year, and they took it everywhere. When the Visit Norfolk people were traveling to other cities to promote business, they wanted to take it with them, so they took it, and
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
yeah, that's great. You know, it's the having that opportunity to do something for the community and really kind of reach out to people, and then while you're doing it, they're saying like, wow, this is wonderful. It's wonderful art, and it's a conversation starter. And honestly, that's the great thing about so many different forms of media, is that they are a conversation starter, and you can really kind of get more in depth with it. And because with art is really an expression of the emotion on how the artist feels, or how something that they came across, you know what the emotion was of that, and that your emotion and then your faith and like your philosophy can actually come through that art.
Hmm. Yeah, it was an amazing opportunity. Um, the people at Visit Norfolk, they I've done a lot of stuff with them since then. They help sponsor um, a lot of the shows that they have at Town Point Park, and all of it's geared towards tourism to bring people to Norfolk, and have them just visit the city, or bring their business to the city. So it was a really cool partnership, and I really enjoyed doing it. And it was the first time that I'd had something that big, um, professionally. It really was kind of the beginning of my professional career. Because prior to that, I was just doing art because I liked it. It wasn't that anyone was really paying me for it. But it was a paid gig, and it turned into something really awesome.
Yeah, so let's kind of do a little screen share here, and we can go on the Acrylics Facebook page. This is the different photos that you have displayed there, so we can all right, there we go.
Yeah, there we
So
go.
this is the what we're looking at here is the Facebook page for Acrylics, and that's O and then Acrylics after that. So as you can see, it's definitely originates from Jared's last name, O'Flaherty, and
And the acrylic.
so
Yep. It's
so
very.
and this was this was the one that you actually, so you said this is the most recent version of the VA logo, right?
Yeah, that's one of the more recent ones. But we have sticker packs that we have right there that you can see that have been created. We have just a variety of different dirty pours, that acrylic pours. We have one that actually looks like a honeycomb. We did that in partnership with some nonprofits in the local area to try and help raise money to save the bees. And so we took a peace sign, which is just indicative of being peaceful, with VB, VB Virginia Beach. So it's kind of a fun play on words. And that was a really popular sticker that we did. And we donated portions of all the money we made to local nonprofits in the area to help, beekeepers and bring awareness to saving the bees, because they're really important. So it's just another way to try and get back to the community.
And I saw that like recently you actually started doing with your son, you actually started doing some skateboard art. And that was I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
That.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We got about 50 boards. We're hoping to have them ready for Christmas so people can use them if they want to for art pieces, or they can, actually use them for skate decks. I actually want to take some of them and turn them into a Christmas tree too, which I'm hoping will be pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks like this one you actually put on.
Yep. So that was a piece that was on display at one of the local art galleries in Virginia Beach. Again, one of those pieces that just kind of in the moment you think about. And yeah, so we try to catalog a lot of our work.
And you've actually, it looks like for the wave design, I think you've done several different versions of this one.
Yeah. Being from Virginia Beach, did a lot of surfing when I was younger, and being so close to the ocean, it's a big part of who I am, and it has a major influence. And so that was just last summer, just playing around with different abstract ways to do waves. We actually have another wave. It's at the very top of the page. It's called the Great Wave, and that is actually the piece of art that I sold that took us to Scotland. We actually were short. Yeah, right there. It's
the timeline photos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right there, the Great Wave. I sold that piece for $3,000 that was the most expensive piece of art that I'd ever sold, and we were literally $3,000 short for our trip, and we weren't going to be able to go unless we raised $3,000. And God came in and he made a way.
Yeah, that is definitely a an answer to prayer right there. Just saying, like, and it's just wonderful how it's exactly the amount of money that you needed to complete your trip.
It was right to the last red cent, man. It was a surreal experience for me personally. You actually can scroll the way up, and it's the backdrop behind, and it's kind of a better picture of it. It's actually it's my own interpretation of the painting, The Great Wave, the fabled Japanese print. And so again, it was one of those paintings that I didn't expect it to become what it became. I was playing with paint one night. I was bored, just in my studio playing around, and I had this enormous canvas. That painting is 4 by 5 feet. It's enormous, and I didn't have the wave on there at first, and it was just but I was looking at it, I was like, oh, you start to see it, and so through the 3 or 4 hours messing around with it, it became the wave. Because once I saw that it was a wave, I was like, oh, this is going to be my first wave, and it evolved into that. And then I started thinking about the Great Wave, and I'm like, how can I make this look like my own, but still be representative of people? Look at that like, oh, I know what that is.
Right.
So yeah, I was very happy and very sad that the guy bought it, because obviously it sent me and my wife on our first missions trip together as a couple on our wedding anniversary to a country we'd never been to. It was a big deal, but it was also by far and away my most loved painting. I really didn't want to sell it. I was like, I'll make it, $3,000, and no one's going to pay $3,000 for this. And yeah, someone thought otherwise.
Well, you were sure to get pictures of it before you sold it. So
Yeah,
that
yeah, and that painting is actually unique because it glows in the dark.
so you can still
I,
do prints
yeah,
of it.
yeah, yeah. I could. I promised him that I wouldn't. It was one of those rare pieces where I wasn't going to make prints of it. That's actually one of the things that acrylics is part of our company. We don't do reprints of pieces of art that we've sold. That
Right.
way, the person that owns it, you're the only person that has it. It's a one of a kind piece of art. Nobody will ever have a copy of it. So I have not made prints of the Great Wave because of that. It's important to me
Yeah.
that people feel special with the work that they choose to purchase from me, and I take that to heart. And it means a lot to me that they're supporting me. Um, but I wish.
Yeah.
So I got
Well,
pictures of it. So yeah, I look at pictures of it all the time, and I'm just like, oh
well,
man,
what makes it different? You know, it's like it makes it unique, and like each time you do a new painting, you do a new artwork, it's different than what the one that you did before. So it's never the same of what you're saying. So, you know, that's I mean, I know there's a lot of artists that do, of course, reprints of their art, but you know, there's something that's so unique to actually just doing, just it's that one of a kind.
yep,
There's no other like it, and your uh, customer that buys it from you, you know, they have the satisfaction of that nobody else is going to have this piece of artwork.
right. There are some paintings that we're gonna probably end up doing reprints of. I have a few that um, I fell in love with when I made them, and I was just like, I'm just not gonna sell these pieces. They're gonna be in our home forever, and so like those we'll make prints of those ones. Um, but yeah, I mean, exactly. Your point is correct. I'm an art collector myself. I actually need to buy a house bigger than what I have because I've ran out of wall space for all the art that I personally buy. um, so, I it's special. I want people to feel special when they purchase an acrylics painting. I want them to have pride in that piece, and it's special to them, and because of that, it's special to me. And like I said, these paintings are unique. A lot of them come with poems that I write to go along with them. So I try to make them as unique as possible for the people that buy them.
Yeah. And honestly, art is just so important in our society. You know, we can really relate to each other on it. It's really a wonderful expression of our internal emotions, or what something we may be going through, or something that we've seen in life. It could have been an experience that we've had, and we can all relate to that. And I think it's so important to keep that in our society, because now, especially with the coronavirus pandemic going on, there's actually I've seen that there's going to be some schools that are going to be kind of cutting back on like certain forms of art, like a lot of schools, they might have to cut back on like with the art classes, or with obviously they're not going to be able to do theater in person,
Right.
you know, because of the social distancing and everything. And especially musicians, marching bands, you know, because like there's a lot of schools are canceling their football program. Where there's
Yeah.
no football, there's no marching band.
Right.
And I actually, you know, I know some students, like matter of fact, my niece is she's in marching band, and unfortunately it's kind of up in the air what they're still going to be able to do. So I think that's so important to keep art, whether it be you know, your traditional forms of art, you know, with painting, with drawing, you know, with graffiti, but there's also sorts of different art. You know, you have photography, you have theater, you have film, you
So
know,
true.
you have music, and it's so important to make that a priority in our schools. You
I
know,
agree.
it should never be considered as like, oh yeah, that's just an extracurricular activity. I'm like,
Right.
it's not. It's actually
No,
just as important as you know, as education as any other form of education.
I agree. Me and my wife actually, I think this maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we advocated for the arts. We went up to DC, came up here, and we went right over to Congress, and we advocated for the arts with our Congress representatives and with our state senators, Mark Warner. Um, we were in his office advocating for the arts. Arts are usually the first thing to get cut from budgets, and it's a proven fact that kids are not all the same. Not all kids learn the same, and art is a valuable resource that you can use to help children learn and to have confidence in themselves, and to discover who they are as individuals. And all of that's part of the learning process. It just is. And so we're a big advocate. I will always be a major advocate for the arts, whether that was painting or acting or singing or music. All of it's the same to me. All of it's important. It should be cherished in our systems, and unfortunately it's not always. And so my wife and I, we make a big deal about it, and we're a part of the advocacy for the arts commissions. And I've done a lot of work with the human rights commissions and the art council here in Virginia. Like I said, doing a lot of work with the local theater companies. Any way that we can get involved and help people use art as a way to express themselves and to find purpose within their life and fulfillment. And that's God's work. That's to me, that's my servant's heart, trying to get back to the people that have supported me and helped acrylics grow. And it's invaluable. It needs to happen.
Amen. So, Jared, what would you say to encourage other believers in art and in media?
I just have faith, man. Just don't lose your faith. Do it for the right reasons. Don't expect overnight success. Don't expect fame and fortune. If your heart's not in the right place, a lot of people get into these kinds of things because they think it's going to make them famous, or they're going to make a big splash, and it's all about Instagram and Facebook likes and viewers on YouTube, and it takes away from the basic principles of why we're here. And I personally just use art as a way to love on people, because I think Christ is love. And so if anyone's listening and anyone's having a hard time with it, just have faith. Just don't lose hope. Don't do it for the wrong reasons. Remember why it brought joy to your life in the first place. And if you can find that and get back to that, you'll be all right.
Amen. Yeah, just continue to do whatever thing that you find that you're good at, and just keep doing it. Don't give up. Even if you're having some troubles doing it, like, hey, welcome to the world. That's just how it is with reality. Is like, no matter what we do, we're always going to have some difficulties and some trials, and we go through it. And honestly, those are the best life lessons to learn from.
Yeah, they are.
Just keep at it no matter what, and just keep believing that God is on your side. As long as you try to do your best in life, do your best at what you're good at, and just keep the faith. I mean, there's nothing that is impossible.
It's true. It's so true. Yeah, I've gone weeks without painting or doing anything creative. And it happens. It happens. Life gets in the way sometimes. Sometimes you just got to do your big boy job, big girl job. For my life in general is just have faith. Just don't lose it. Realize that there will be better days, that God is with you all the time. It doesn't matter what you're experiencing, good or bad. God will get you through it. It's so simple. It's not, for me, it's not some long diatribe. It's just have faith. Have faith. Don't lose hope. Just focus on God. Keep your eyes on God.
Amen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Jared, what's next for you?
Oh, I don't know. I had a whole line of shows planned for this year, and they all got canceled. So I'm just gonna go back and keep painting, and try and reinvent the wheel, I guess. I have a couple things that I'm working on, and I'm hoping to do some partnerships with some local artists back home soon, and that's going to be exciting stuff. But right now, just keep painting. Yeah, hopefully in the new year we'll be allowed to do some shows. Trying to work out some content for our online presence more. So that's probably the big one. We're gonna launch our YouTube channel soon. We're going to do more content creating on Instagram specifically, so people who like our work can see it more often and see how it gets created. So that's the next step, I think, for us, is just creating more video content.
And you're currently on you said Instagram, but you're also on Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram. Yep.
And the handle is Ocrylics, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Ocrylics.
So if you want to follow Jared's artwork, he is available on Facebook and also on Instagram. You can follow online at Ocrylics. That's O and then CRYLICS.
Yep.
So just feel free to look on his page. He has a lot of wonderful artwork. And I know there, of course, there's the link to the website if there's anyone who, is interested in commissioning Jared. But if you want to see some examples of his art, just go to his Facebook or his Instagram page at Ocrylics. And Jared, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for everyone for listening in. If you would like to learn more information about Jared, we will actually have, it's not currently up there yet, but we will have a page available on our website. It's going to be at faithmediashow.com. So you go to Faith Media Show and then you click on guests. And then you'll see Jared's profile photo and it'll say painter, graphic artist, and we'll actually provide a link to where you can just click on his photo and it'll go to his page. And the page will actually be faithmediashow.com /Jared O. And that's where we'll actually be able to provide more information for Jared, and you can learn more information about him. And thank you again, Jared, for joining us. And for those who are watching, thank you so much for joining us. And if you would like to continue watching any content with us that we produce in the future, please feel free to follow us online at Faith Media Show. We are available on all of the social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you would like to come on to our show as a guest, please feel free to send us an email through our contact page, faithmediashow.com. Send us an email if you are interested in coming on as a guest. And we thank you so much for joining us today. God bless you, and we hope you have a wonderful day.